When doing pull work on back day, I always remind myself to pull with my pinkies. Lead that pull, initiate that pull with your pinkies. That gets the elbows engaged rather than the biceps. Cool. Hey gang, welcome back to Mark's 60 Plus Fitness Journey. Today is Monday, June 6th, 2022, and it is a fabulous day already. I've already been to the gym, and today was a back day, so I'm going to show you said back day here in a minute. And in there, I just want to point out, so I want you to stick around for this, a couple of pointers that I want to point out. Things that I may or may not have mentioned, like little tricks of the trade that you may already know, but you may not, so I'm just going to point them out. And before we get into it, I want to send a special thanks to Steve Craig. He generously used that thank you button. I think it's called a thank you button or a thanks button down below there. And he generously donated $50. And I got to say, thank you, Steve. That was unexpected and most appreciated. And as I said, that's going into my new camera fund. So thank you, Steve Craig. So with that said, let's get into the workout. Then after that, we'll check back in, wrap it all up. Let's go do it. Alrighty, I'm going to start today's monster back workout with a movement I have not done in months. So my body is not used to this at all. This is a new movement, and I'm doing it a little heavier than I remember too, which is also awesome. And the fact that this is a new movement, or I haven't done it in a while, that kind of leads me into my first trick of the trade or tip here that you may very well be aware of, but I just like to point it out. Whenever we do a new movement like this, or one we haven't done in a while, inevitably, what we're going to get out of this, I think, other than just the diversity of doing new movements, is the first workout. The next day, we should feel some soreness in the area that's affected by this new movement, which seems obvious. But what I like to remember is, or annotate later, is to make note of what this movement did and how it affected the muscles. You know, which muscles did this really affect more than anything else? It's a good way to learn your body and the mind-muscle connection with a particular exercise. And again, you know, may seem obvious, and most folks might know this, but I, for the longest time, would just say, wow, that I did something different, and I'm really sore. But I never put two and two together to associate the soreness with the movement and remembering it. That's a long ramble for point number one, and hope that made sense. But effectively, I started out with 3 sets of these hammer strength lat pulls. I do like this machine. 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. I did these to failure. It felt pretty good too. That was a nice way to start this workout. Okay, next, I want to do a little bit more mid-back specific work. So following that newish movement, I like to be consistent and do, you know, the usual suspects from this point forward. So if I do get sore, I'll know it's that one new movement. So I followed up, again, as I said, with some mid-back work using this T-bar machine. And I'm using the handles that leave my hands or my palms facing backwards. In this case, just to get a little different hand variation from the hammer strength lat pull we just did. But I did 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps there as well to failure. And again, back to a movement I do or have been doing for a while on my back workout, good old cable lat pulls. And nothing really different about this today. I just used a different handle here. I think this is called a mag grip. Comes in a lot of different widths, but on this particular lat cable pull down. I was focusing on the contraction there at the bottom. And again, I went heavier today. This was a great workout, by the way. Before I forget to mention, I did 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps here as well, doing them to failure. But yesterday was going to be my back day, and I just did not feel it at all. I had nothing. Well, before we get into that, let me get into tip 2 here. See where my pinky, I was pointing out my pinky there. And so tip number 2 is pull with your pinky. And what that does, that activates the elbow pull rather than a bicep pull. Pull with your pinky. And that goes for almost any pull at all. That works for me. Pull with your pinky. But, okay, so then the next 3 sets, I just did this seated cable row. 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps to failure. Again, one of the usual suspects. But getting back to my discussion about not feeling it yesterday, I literally just did nothing, took the day off, and rested. It was a good Sunday. It was Sunday. It was a good day to do it, so we just rested. And this morning when I went in, this is probably the best back workout I've had in a while. I mean, not all that much volume, but it was strong. I was able to go a lot heavier than I have in a long time. So rest. Maybe that's tip number 3, which is another seemingly obvious one. If you're tired, rest. It paid off for me today big time. I had a great workout. So I finished up today with some pull-ups. You know me, on my back day, I'm doing pull-ups. So at this point, I'm fairly pre-exhausted, and it's like doing weighted pull-ups at this point, because instead of doing 20, I can only do 7 or 8 because I'm pretty burnt. So I did 2 sets of close grip, like you see here, and I think, I did these to failure. I think I did 7 and 6 or something like that, and then finished up with a wider grip pull-up, again to failure, and 2 sets, and I think it was 7 or so, both of them, I'm not sure, but it wasn't a lot. But it was a good way to finish up this back day, this epic monster back workout. And I do want to say thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, because this was a good workout. I'm glad you were here. All right, there was today's monster back day. At least I felt like it was a monster back day for me. Wasn't a whole lot of volume, but it felt strong. It was heavier than normal. I just felt good. It was a good back workout. Lesson learned. If you're tired, take the day off. That day, extra day's rest made all the difference, because I came back today strong and felt good. Anyway, thank you so very much for taking the time to spend with me today. I really appreciate it. And if you're already this far in, go ahead and hit that like button for me. That'd be much appreciated. And while you're down there poking buttons, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Come join our group. Come follow along with this 62-year-old as he tries to stay in the game and keep fit, strong, and healthy. Come join us. I'd love to have you. And I guess that's it for today. Got a little condo meeting here in a little bit, so I'm going to wrap it up and get the rest of the day underway. And with that, I will say, till next time, go get 'em. Mark out.